What's going on, guys? It's another podcast of It's Nolan's Playbook. My first hot topic I'm giving you guys. Jaxson Dart is the now starting quarterback for the New York Jets. He's taking the place of Russell Wilson after they go 0-3 the first 3 games of the year. My second hot topic, backup quarterback performances this week for week 3. Let's get right into it. First hot topic, Jaxson Dart is now starting after Russell Wilson goes 0-3. It's a tall task after Russ wet the bed, but you could also make the case, as I told you guys yesterday, Brian Daboll and his coaching staff and their play calling was just really, really atrocious. And if you think that Russell Wilson struggled, which he did, he made bad throws, inaccurate throws, just terrible plays. Russ did make. I'm not making any excuses for Russ. He was bad. He was. But some of that 50-50 of it has to do with Brian Daboll and his play calling. Russ is not a mobile quarterback anymore. Russ is not the runner that he once was where he could run the ball. So with that being said, if you're a coaching staff and you Brian Daboll, you have to game plan to your players' strengths. The game plan that they have for Russell Wilson in the first 3 games, that's not Russell Wilson's strong suit. That's not his strengths. That's now his weaknesses. His strengths that he used to have in Seattle, those have become his weaknesses. And Brian Daboll and the coaching staff, they haven't adjusted to that. That's why they 0-3. The strengths that Jaxson Dart has, that Brian Daboll and his coaching staff try to run, those same plays in the game plan that y'all try to come up with for these quarterbacks, that's what's the strengths for Jaxson Dart, not Russell Wilson. Jaxson Dart, he could run the ball, he could throw the ball, he could do all those things that Brian Daboll and his coaching staff wants to do in game planning. But that what y'all was doing for Russ, that was the wrong game planning, the wrong play calls, all of that. Now, like I just told y'all, it had a lot to do with Russ and it had a lot to do with the coaching staff. Russ didn't look good his last year in Seattle. He didn't look good in Denver at all. You know how that played out. The first 3 games, he didn't look good. So you turn to Jaxson Dart, and all I'm going to tell y'all is, if y'all going to run those same dumb play calls that y'all ran for Russ, y'all going to call that for Jaxson Dart too? Get ready for Jaxson Dart to wet the bed too. These coaches, they don't have smart game plans. They don't make the game easier on the players. And for whatever reason, I don't understand why. Make the game easier for your players. Come up with a smart game plan. And then when you come up with a good game plan, maybe your players will follow suit and execute the game plan. And you will do something like, win the game. They are asking Jaxson Dart already to do way, way too much. I'm hearing, it's pressure on Jaxson Dart, and he needs to save Brian Daboll's job, and he needs to save Joe Sheen's job. He's a rookie quarterback. Relax. The Giants have been bad for 10 years. For at least 10 years, the Giants have been bad. They have been a garbage organization as a whole. Joe Shane, he should have been fired like 2 years ago when he let Saquon Barkley go and he traded him and he signed Daniel Jones to a contract. He should have been fired 2 or 3 years ago. He shouldn't even have a job right now. And you seen what he traded. Not only did you trade Saquon Barkley, but you traded him to a divisional opponent in the Philadelphia Eagles, and in his first year he goes to Philadelphia, he gets a Super Bowl. That's on Joe Sheen for doing that. Why would you do something so stupid like that? That's like Micah Parsons being traded to the Packers by Jerry Jones. Why would you do something like that? So he should have been fired 2 or 3 years ago. For Brian Daboll's case, that one season in 2022, he led his team and Daniel Jones to the playoffs because he game planned smart. His coaching staff came up with a way for Daniel Jones to execute game plans and not put the ball in harm's way. And oh yeah, you had Saquon Barkley, who saved Daniel Jones also for most of that 2022 season. But you decided to let him go and you signed Daniel Jones. Now it looks bad on this New York Giants organization. Now that Daniel Jones is now in Indianapolis with the Colts and they're 3-0 and Daniel Jones is balling out so far. It looks bad on the Giants organization because you like, why couldn't Daniel Jones do that in New York? Was it the players around him? Was it Daboll? Was it Joe Shane not putting the players around him? Oh yeah, he gave up one of the players that they should have kept. So you can make the case that now that Daniel Jones he's balling out in Indianapolis, that's another reason why Joe Shane and Brian Daboll could get fired at the end of the year. But to put all of this on Jaxson Dart instead, if he does not come out and perform the way that we want him to, oh yeah, y'all out the door. Guess what? Brian Daboll and Joe Shane, they gonna be out the door anyway. It don't even matter if Jaxson Dart balls out or not. They probably gonna be out the door at the end of the season anyway. Jaxson Dart can ball out all he wants to. That's not gonna mean nothing if the Giants keep losing. That's not gonna mean anything if they keep losing. Ball out all you want to, Jaxson Dart. I'm telling you, you can ball out all you want to. If y'all keep losing, they gonna be fired. Trust me, I'm telling you now. But y'all are asking Jaxson Dart to do way too much. When did we get to a place where it's just so much pressure on a rookie quarterback? I just don't understand it. And then the first 5 games of Jaxson Dart's career, he's playing this week. Home against the Chargers. Next week, at Saints. The following week, home against the Eagles. The other week, at Broncos. The next week after that, at Philadelphia. 2 teams are 3-0. The Chargers are 3-0. The Eagles are 3-0. And then you got to go to Denver to play the Broncos, which they should be over 500. They lost those 2 games that they possibly could have won. That's a hard game. The only gimme game is at New Orleans with the Saints. That's the only gimme game through 5 games that Jaxson Dart has. He should be able to light it up against the Saints. Should be. You can never predict nothing in the NFL. But the Chargers, the Eagles, and the Broncos, we know what those 3 teams' defenses are all about. They will make Jaxson Dart's life a living hell. The Chargers, the Eagles, and the Broncos, because those 3 teams' defenses are loaded. So you asking him through 5 games, hey, Jaxson Dart, let's try to go out and win 3. He might only win 1, and that's at Saints. Now, any given week, you can get beat, but how things are going now, with how Philadelphia's rolling early on, how the Chargers are rolling early on, how the Broncos are playing better than what their record says, you don't even expect him to win those games. You only expect him to win 1, and that's at Saints. So, I told y'all during the preseason, I like Jaxson Dart. He's going to be a good quarterback. It's no question about that. The kid has the arm strength. He has the talent. He provided this New York Giants team with a different vibe during the preseason. You had players smiling. You had Brian Daboll smiling ear to ear. They knew that they had their next quarterback. They knew it. And at this point, Brian Daboll and Joe Shane's job is on the line. And they're 0-3. Russell Wilson did not ball out. They didn't help him ball out either. But it's like, all the hell with it. Let's throw Jaxson Dart in now. See what he has. Our jobs are on the line. If we get fired, at least we started him. We seen what he got. Maybe he could save our jobs. But through the first 3 games, the only to score 6 points against Washington, which is a good team and a good defense led by Dan Quinn. To score 37 points, that's against a horrible Dallas Cowboys defense. And then this past week, to only score 9 points against the Kansas City Chiefs, great defense led by Steve Spagnuolo. Through 3 games, you have not even scored 10 points through 2 of the 3 games that you played, 6 and 9. The only game that you scored double digits in is the game against the Dallas Cowboys, which they scored 37. That was against a horrific Dallas Cowboys defense that doesn't have Micah Parsons anymore. That's the only exception. Jaxson Dart, you can't do no worse than that. You really can't. So you can only go up from here, but winning does matter. And like I told y'all, if he balls out, that's great. But if they don't win, you have to be able to win in the NFL. The New York Giants fans, you can chant Jaxson Dart all you want to. We all know how New York fans are. So y'all can chant, put Jaxson Dart in all y'all want to. Soon as he wets the bed, soon as he has a couple of bad games, y'all gonna be booing him too, like y'all boo everybody else. My next hot topic: backup quarterback performances. The Vikings played the Cincinnati Bengals. We know the Vikings was out J.J. McCarthy, and the Bengals were without Joe Burrow. So you had Jake Browning going against Carson Wentz. I told you guys last week, I don't trust Jake Browning. I'm not confident in it. You see why I didn't trust him. You see why I wasn't confident in it. He had a horrible game. The team as a whole had a horrible game. Jake Browning was 19-27, 140 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. He was sacked 3 times. Isaiah Rodgers, Minnesota Vikings cornerback, was all over the place. He forced 2 fumbles. He had a fumble recovery. He intercepted one of Jake Browning's passes through a pick 6. Isaiah Rodgers was all over the place. And then when you have a Brian Flores-led team, or led defense, I should say, and you don't have your quarterback in Joe Burrow, you are really asking for it. And the Bengals got smacked in the mouth from all 3 phases of the game. And it wasn't even close. And I'm just really, really, really concerned about Cincinnati. I would try to trade for Jameis Winston. I would try to trade for Kirk Cousins, because I told y'all Jake Browning is not it. And after that game, you lose 48-10. That's unacceptable. And a lot of that was on Jake Browning. You have a team in Cincinnati whose defense is already not good, but when your quarterback is providing the other team with points the other way, that's not good. So I just feel bad for this team, because they started 2-0, and for Joe Burrow to get hurt at the wrong time, he's going to be out 3 months, possibly the season. Can Jake Browning keep this team afloat? Carson Wentz, he had a good game. He was 14-20 for 173 yards, 2 touchdowns. He was sacked 3 times. Carson Wentz did have a nice, solid game, but let's keep it all the way 100. Isaiah Rodgers and that Minnesota Vikings defense did help out Carson Wentz a whole lot with the things they did on defense. They got after on defense and scored a lot of Minnesota's points. I'm not taking away anything for Carson Wentz, but that defense helped him out a lot. But he did have a nice, solid game. That brings me to the Washington Commanders going against the Las Vegas Raiders. Jaden Daniels did not play in this game. Marcus Mariota, backup quarterback. I told you guys last week, I think Marcus Mariota should be able to beat the Raiders. I think Marcus Mariota can get the Washington Commanders at least 1 game, just 1, And he did that. He was 15 to 21 for 207 yards, 1 touchdown. Marcus Mariota had 6 carries for 40 yards, and he ran the ball in for a touchdown. Terry McLaurin, 3 receptions for 74 yards. Terry McLaurin is also hurt. He's seeking a second option. I think it's on his quad. So that could be a potential big loss, but we will see how that plays out. Luke McCaffrey, 3 receptions for 56 yards, 1 touchdown, and Jalen Lane had a punt return touchdown. The Washington Commanders win against the Raiders 41 to 24. So Marcus Mariota did have a nice solid game. He got in that one game that he needed to. They haven't said anything as far as Jaden Daniels coming back this week. I hope he comes back this week, and I hope he doesn't come back this week because, oh yeah, they're playing the Falcons. Of course. Dan Quinn's coming back to Atlanta. Yeah, of course. That's nice after we just lose 30-0. So, but I do hope that Jaden Daniels plays this week because it'll be nice to see him against the Falcons. So I hope he plays this week. If he does not, for whatever reason, you have Marcus Mariota that you can go to. But he did have a nice, solid game. So you give credit when credit is due. The other one, Matt Jones gets his second start for the San Francisco 49ers. This game was played against the Arizona Cardinals. I said that Matt Jones should be able to get you another game after he had a very solid game last week against the New Orleans Saints. I said he should be able to get another game if Brock Purdy does not play. Matt Jones was 27 to 41 for 281 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Matt Jones was sacked once. Christian McCaffrey had 17 carries for 52 yards. Christian McCaffrey also had 10 receptions for 88 yards. Ricky Parcell, 8 receptions for 117 yards. Kyle Juszczyk, 1 reception for a 1-yard touchdown for Kyle Juszczyk. This game was won on the San Francisco 49er field goal. The score ended up being 16 to 15. Now, Mac had a good game last week against the Saints. I was a little bit concerned this past week with how he played against the Arizona Cardinals because I feel like he could have had a better game. It wasn't a bad game for Mac Jones. It really wasn't. But I felt like only scoring 16 points against an Arizona Cardinals team, I just thought they could have scored a lot more than what they did. And I just thought that this was a game that should have been a blowout win for the San Francisco 49ers and not a 1-point win off of a field goal. This should have been a blowout. So, yes, I am concerned about Mac a little bit. A win is a win. San Francisco is 3-0. They haven't said anything as far as Brock Purdy coming back this week. I don't know if he plays or not. Mac Jones is 2-0 as the starting quarterback. But I would want to get Brock Purdy back as soon as possible now after last week's game. The last one I would give you, we knew that Justin Fields had a concussion and he wasn't going to play this past week, which he didn't. Tyrod Taylor got the start, and he had a solid game. Tyrod was 26 to 36, 197 yards, 2 touchdowns. He threw 1 interception. Tyrod Taylor was sacked 4 times, and Tyrod Taylor had 8 carries for 48 yards. Garrett Wilson had 10 receptions for 84 yards and 1 touchdown. Allen Lazard had 2 receptions for 13 yards and 1 touchdown. This game was a blowout game. The Buccaneers were blowing out the Jets. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, the New York Jets just come roaring back. They did end up losing this game 29-27 off of a field goal kick for the Buccaneers to win the game. So this was a competitive game without Justin Fields. Tyrod Taylor had a nice solid game, but in the end, the New York Jets are 0-3, and it's another season of the Jets is being really, really bad. Even if this team does get Justin Fields back, what does it really matter? They're still going to be bad anyway, so it doesn't matter. As a whole, New York football, the Jets and the Giants are 0-6 combined because both teams are 0-3. So as far as New York football goes, it's not looking good. Jaxson Dart gets to start this week. We don't know when Justin Fields will be back. But with that being said, remember to join me next week of it's more of Nolan's Playbook. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you guys think about Jaxson Dart getting his first career start. And let me know which team you think needs their quarterback back the most. And we out of here.